hmm Yeah, maybe we could talk about like the second premise then, Josh. Which I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly, right, but it's like looking at the idea that like, well, then if limits have explanations, then like the fundamental like nature of reality, where there is
Yeah.
no further explanation, it'd be unlimited. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's right. And now in that second premise, I'm kind of tucking in the conclusion of another argument. So maybe I could just sort of set it up this way. The argument from arbitrary limits, you could think of that as a device that can help you to investigate the fundamental nature of reality, if there is a
Mhm.
fundamental nature of reality, if there is a fundamental reality, right? But then why think there is a fundamental reality? And kind of just backing up a little bit more, one of the things that I think about is this sort of general puzzle of how there can be any reality at all. So people who know my work, they're familiar with this kind of puzzle. And the puzzle has to do with the observation that whatever reality is, okay, this is a bit of reality, but if you could just imagine that this is just all of reality for a moment. Imagine this is everything. Maybe if you zoomed out of our universe, you see that actually we're in a multiverse, and you zoom all the way out and all the universes together look something like this. This is the multiverse. This is what it looks like when you're zoomed out. You might wonder, okay, well, why is there this reality at all? And we're talking about all space, all time, everything, right? Well, reality in total doesn't have anything beyond it that explains it, because reality in total includes all of it. So in that sense, you could think of reality in total as self-sufficient. It has within it everything, and there's nothing that reality in total depends on or that caused it. And to me, this invites a deep puzzle, which is, how can a reality be self-sufficient? How could there be any reality that doesn't depend on any further cause or explanation? So part of the solution that I offer is that if reality in total has a kind of foundational layer, um, maybe to bring back this prop, if this is kind of an arbitrary bit of reality, and the arbitrary bit of reality is explained ultimately in terms of some kind of foundational layer of reality, and I want to leave open the nature of the foundational layer. I mean, maybe the foundational layer of reality is in some way the whole of reality. Some people have suggested that the whole of reality could be prior to its parts. The whole explains the parts, but the whole is unexplained.
hmm
I want to leave that open, or maybe the foundational layer of reality is some kind of part within the total of reality. It's not the whole; it's some part, but it's a special part. But either way, it's foundational in the sense that it doesn't depend on anything else. It's sort of the ultimate ground layer of reality. And so, if that's right, well, then we have within our reality some kind of special reality that's unlike the things that have further causes and explanations. This foundational reality has no further cause or explanation. And so then that leads us to that second premise where I forget how I put it exactly, but the idea is that there is a foundational reality. If there is that foundational reality, it's not going to have arbitrary limits and boundaries and configurations that call for further explanation, because it has no further explanation. It's the ultimate. So that's
hmm
why, I mean, just to illustrate this, I mean, let's say that we fold this up into a certain kind of shape like this. Even as I'm pressing this to put it into a shape, I'm causing it to take that shape. Or even if it caused itself to take that shape, still that shape is being caused. It's not a fundamental feature of fundamental reality. So, I mean, this is a reason, and I have to say that here I feel pretty confident. I mean, there's some things I'm not so sure about. They're kind of at the edge of my thinking, but here I feel pretty confident that the fundamental feature of fundamental reality does not have this shape. If you actually zoom down,
hmm
you saw the multiverse, and this was the multiverse. This wouldn't be the fundamental characterization of fundamental reality, again, because any particular shape, I think, would call for further explanation. So that's how I would motivate that second premise.
Hmm. That's helpful, Josh, because it seems like to me, like if we're going to accept like the first premise where like limited things have explanations,
Yes,
like we'd have to follow it all the way through, and saying like, well, eventually, like we're going to get to a foundation which doesn't have limits because limits
that's
like
it.
require further explanations. Unless you want to say like maybe it's like brute or something, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a little bit here, looking at objections. So